Hey, how you doing? Just getting ready here in the church kitchen to serve the Lord's Supper. I don't know how much you know about the Lord's Supper. Some churches call it communion, and in some other denominations call it the Mass. It's very important. It was very important to our Lord, and it's very important to His followers. I thought you might like to talk about it a little bit today. I'll be right back and we'll do that. My name is Dan Griffin. I have the privilege of being the pastor of the historic First Baptist Church in Lancaster, Texas. This coming Sunday we're going to have the Lord's Supper at our church, and I've been thinking about it all week. And there's so much, I don't know where to start to tell you. This supper was ancient when we first run into it in the New Testament. It starts back over in the book of Exodus in the Old Testament, about the 12th chapter. It was the Passover meal then. It came down through religious and Jewish history to be known in the Christian era as the Lord's Supper, or the Last Supper, it's sometimes called. Now you see, we have bread and we have grape juice. And these two elements of the Lord's Supper stand for the broken body of our Lord Jesus as He died on the cross. That's the bread. It was unleavened bread because of the ancient Old Testament meaning. The juice is common grape juice. In Jesus' day, wine was a standard beverage. They didn't have pure water, clean water, trustworthy water like we do. And so wine was a safe beverage to drink. Jesus drank wine with His meals just like everybody else did in those days. He used the cup of wine, which was served at Passover. I think there were 3 different cups through the meal. And He said, "This cup represents my blood, which is shed for you." His blood? Yes. Because in the Old Testament story in Exodus, they killed the best lamb they had, sprinkled its blood over the lintels and doorposts of the house, and that way the death angel would pass over them, and that's where the word Passover comes from. But if there was no blood on the doorpost, then the firstborn of that house was taken by the death angel. It was God's final plague so that Pharaoh would let his children go. In the New Testament, Jesus said to His disciples that He had really looked forward to celebrating this Passover with them. And when He was there, I think Jesus' hands may have trembled just a little as He held that cup and said, this cup of wine represents my body and my blood, which are shed for you. And He told us to always do this in remembrance of Him. And so every time we do it in the church, we are showing His death on the cross, remembering what it meant, and thanking God for what Jesus did for us. I hope that you are often at the participation of the Lord's Supper. I always get spiritual strength from it, as well as inspiration and renewal. If you haven't had the Lord's Supper lately, we'd invite you to come to our church. We're in Lancaster, Texas, as I said at the top of the program. If you look down below me here, you'll see some linkage where you can look at our website and you can come to our service. It's on 3rd Street, 305 East 3rd Street in Lancaster. We would really love to see you. You see, this supper is God's most eloquent way of telling us how much He loved us. We love you too. Come.